Alright, so this is ElevenLabs, one of the best, if not the best AI tool out there if you want to clone your voice. And so far, this tool is quite popular and people like the results of the clones that they created. But the question is, what would happen if you clone your voice using ElevenLabs, and with that clone, you create another clone and then repeating the process over and over again? What would happen to the audio quality? Well, to answer that, I plan to create 100 clones from my voice using ElevenLabs. But I have to clarify here because I said I plan to create 100 clones, but in reality, I can only get 91 clones. That's because apparently there is a limit on how many times you can create clones using ElevenLabs. On my account, I'm using the creator plan, which is a premium, basically it is a paid plan in ElevenLabs. And the limit was 100 audio processing or 100 clones in theory. But I didn't realize that. I only know that I have a limit once I started creating more and more clones. So I actually have been using the quota on my other projects before. So right now, that's a number that I can get, 91 clones. Not quite 100, but it's very close. And I believe the result or the quality would be more or less similar to if I was able to do it to 100 clones. Now, just to give you the proof, this is a list of audio generations that I created in ElevenLabs, and these are different voices or from different clones, but they are basically producing the same content, which is this passage. It's very simple, and I've been using it to create more clones using ElevenLabs. And yeah, this process took me quite some time, but finally it is done, and I can show it to you the result of what would happen if you are cloning the clones using ElevenLabs. So I have this AI tool, actually just a regular tool that I created using Gemini AI. And basically, this tool will help us understand or compare different audio files together. And basically, I can jump around from one audio to another so we can kind of do the comparison in real time. Anyway, let me just show you the first iteration or the first or the original audio perhaps, and then the first clone, and maybe the second clone. And don't worry, I'm not going to show you all the 91 clones. I'm going to just jump from one clone to another. I just want to show you something that is very important and very interesting. So let's listen at the original audio first. The original, and then again, I'm going to jump from one clone to another so we can compare it quickly. The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all the water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored. Okay, so that was the original audio. I'm going to do it again, but I will jump around from one voice or from one audio to another. The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vast, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored. So, from what I can tell, the original is definitely not perfect. The first iteration was pretty good, but again, it's very good because it is AI. But I would say it's very close to the original audio. However, the second iteration, which was created from this audio, wasn't actually quite similar. I mean, I can tell there is something going on, something is kind of off, and the audio quality is not quite the same as the first iteration. So there is a noticeable gap between the first and the second iteration. So let's jump into the fifth iteration, and you'll see there's something that's going on in the audio, and it's actually going to be even worse on the other iteration. So I'm going to play the audio again. The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored. Yeah, on the fifth iteration, there's something going on. There's some audio artifacts that's so noticeable, and I would say people are going to be bothered when they have to listen to someone that has that audio artifacts when speaking. So there's something going on when you do it over and over again, and it's quite clear. But I thought that, well, maybe this is going to be the worst as you're going to get, and the audio artifacts is going to be amplified. But it wasn't the case. So I actually do it again, and once I reach, let's say, the 20, let me just give you the comparison. Again, I'm going to reset. Now let's compare with the fifth and then the 20th iteration, you'll see that it's kind of more or less the same. I mean, the audio is getting worse, but it's almost like it's kind of plateauing. It's just not going to get any worse. So let me just play the audio again, and let's compare the 5th and the 20th clone.
The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface
and contains 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored.
So it still has the same audio artifacts problem, but it's just kind of more amplified. But more or less, it's still about the same, I would say. Now, I thought that, well, it's going to sound like that, but once I reach 25th iteration, there is something more interesting happening. And apparently, my audio, or the clone, sounded like a robot. So let's play 20, and then I'm going to compare it with 25th.
The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored.
So the audio artifacts are actually not as pronounced as the previous iterations, but I do notice that there's definitely the robotic sound. The tonality is just not quite human anymore. It's more like a robot. And I thought, well, this is going to be the trend going forward. But again, it actually wasn't the case. It's getting more and more interesting. So let me just give you the 37th iteration. Now I have to jump around between different audios because a lot of them actually kind of sounded the same. So on the 37th iteration, it gets faster, it's becoming more robotic, and it got even worse. So let me play the audio again.
The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored.
Yeah, so yeah, it's actually, I would say there are some areas where it got softer, or I would say it's becoming normal again. I know it's kind of crazy because I was expecting that the latter iteration is going to get worse, but it's not always the case. Sure, it is not good, but it's not like a massive gap between 25 to 37. So that's from what I can tell from listening to these audio files. Now, let me just reset again, and let's compare the iteration between 52. Let me just upload the file because, you know, I believe it or not, I have to listen these different audio files and try to find something that sounds interesting. Now, on the 52 iteration, it's kind of 52nd iteration, it's kind of sounded like not me anymore. I mean, it's been quite a while, it doesn't sound like me, but this one, it's probably not a man voice anymore. It's more like woman. Take a listen.
The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored.
So between 52 to 70, close to 80 iterations, they kind of sounded like woman. So from what I can tell, there's nothing different between them, so that's why I'm not going to show you all the different audio files. But basically there's something more interesting happen in the 78th iteration where it still sounded like woman but more like a grandma. So I'm going to play the audio again.
The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the
Yeah, I noticed that there is a sort of cricket sound in the background. It's actually not really a cricket, it's more like the audio artifacts in that particular voice. So, you know, it's definitely not the same as the original or even the first clone anymore. And it's kind of producing more and more different audio, and it's kind of getting worse. Now, finally, I guess we can compare it to the last iteration, which is the number 91. So I'm going to upload this and take a listen.
The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored.
Yeah, let me play it again. It's really awful.
The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all water on the planet. Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20 explored.
Okay, so yeah, it's actually getting really, really worse. But for quite some times in the last few iterations, it's kinda not getting any worse, but it's also not getting any better. It's stuck there in that level and it's not going to be improving. So I guess if there's anything to learn from this is that you probably don't want to clone your voice and then use that clone to create another clone. And also, I think AI in ElevenLabs is just getting better and better to actually making the words, the pronunciation to be as coherent as possible. And I think it's just a proof that AI is just getting better, and also it's very good even when you are providing the garbage input, which is using the clone to create another clone. Now finally, let's compare some of the most interesting audios in my opinion. So let's compare the original, the first iteration, and then let's compare it to 25. And lastly, let's compare it to the 91st or the last iteration. So let me just play all these files together, and again I'm going to jump from one audio to another so we can compare it faster. The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and contains 97% of all water on the planet.
Its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean
Flawed.
Yeah, let's do it one more
The
time.
ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface and
contains 97% of all water on the planet.
Despite its vastness, scientists estimate that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored. So yeah, that's what will happen if you compare or if you clone your AI, your voice over and over again using the AI in ElevenLabs. So I hope you learned something from this video, or at the very least you find this video to be interesting or maybe entertaining. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.